Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic, news, opinions and information, with additional information available on the RAYNET-UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you're instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat who I've heard, and if you are not acknowledged, then please do try again. I will call for anybody that misses their turns at the end of the UK and international sections. So, as usual, I'll begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 9 in their call signs, please call now. This is G4 and RC. For an RC, don't know if we have any clashes for 9s, so let's see what we get for 8s. Stations figure 8 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Echo Echo Yankee, G-A-E-E-Y. Good afternoon, Greg. Name here is Mike.
Echo Echo Yankee, good afternoon, Mike. Any other 8s, please? G4 and RC, over. B4 and RC, nothing hurts, let's have 7s. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 7, November, Echo Hotel, G7NEH.
G7NEH, good afternoon, Graham. Any other 7s, please? G4 and RC, over. D4 and RC, nothing hurts, let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in that call sign, please go ahead, over.
Good afternoon, this is Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo. My name is Chris. In and out, please, Greg.
Papa Delta Echo, good afternoon, Chris. 7-3's to you, copied you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4 and RC, over. Right, in case anybody's locked out by that. Any other 6s, please? G4 and RC, over. RC, then that's a 5. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. Or an RC, not many 5s in the organisation, so we'll jump straight to 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
G4 and RC, G4K UK. Good afternoon, Greg. Trevor in Hertfordshire.
4 Kilo India Lima, Philip, South Sussex.
G4 ISN, Andy, Leicester, in and out, great.
For an RC, so I've got Trevor, G4KUJ, and Philip, G4KAL staying with me, and good afternoon, 732 Andy, Golf 4 India Sierra November, with you in and out. Any other fours, please, G4 and RC, over.
Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, Phil, in and out today, Greg, I'm feeding him, we're behind schedule.
G4, HUF, G4 and RC, acknowledged and understood, Phil, I'd hate for you to be the wrong side of the 5,000 if the dinner wasn't so quite ready on time. 7 threes to you. Let's go for threes, please. Stations figure 3 in there, call time, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian.
Zulu Hotel X-Ray, good afternoon, Ian. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Twos, stations figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes your intermediate twos. Please call now, over.
2 0 Charlie Mike Sierra, calling from Midway. No traffic in and out, please, Greg.
Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, good afternoon, 732 Colin, copied you in and out. Any other twos, please? G4 and RC, over. Heard, so it's ones, stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf Mike 1, Papa India Echo, Mike in a remarkable sunny Aberdeenshire, in and out, please, Greg.
Golf Mike 1, Papa India Echo, Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie returning. Good afternoon, Mike, and enjoy the sunshine. It's a bit gloomy down here in Chester. So I copied you in and out, 7 threes to you. Any other ones, please? G4 and RC, over. For an RC, no takers. Let's go for the Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. Please call now, over. For an RC, second call for any Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. Please call now, over. RC, no takers. Let's have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. Please, over.
Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, RAYNET Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please, over.
Golf 0, Charlie Foxtrot Bravo, Richard, East Suffolk, RAYNET, in and out, thank you, Greg.
For NRC, good afternoon then to Andy, Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray, and Richard, Golf 0, Charlie Foxtrot Bravo, both in and out. So take my usual shortcut. Any UK stations who missed their turn to call in, please call now. This is G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. Do we have any of our international colleagues of the talk groups today? That's usually Sam Van Stiersten of Norway, Aaron in Ireland, Des of the Netherlands, Aries and Slovakia. Any of our international colleagues, please. G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Lima for 6, India, Mike, name is Hans, in and out, great.
Alpha 6 India, Mike. Good afternoon, Hans, and copied you and announced the 732. I'm sure you'll be listening for a little while. Okay, any other stations, UK or international, who've missed their turn to call in, then please call now. This is G4NRC, over. RNRC, nothing heard. Okay, usual reminder, Graham, G7NEH, is live streaming the net to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on YouTube. And if you like the videos, please do hit the like and subscribe buttons, because he appreciates the acknowledgement and that the service is getting used. Starting with ongoing permit issues, production of temporary repeater allocations letters has restarted, but the seasonal surge of requests to renew business radio permits has also begun. There's a known issue with business radio permit issue at the moment with the website, and that some groups are getting blank PDF documents, with the priority of the IT team being the migration of email accounts across to the Google service as we depart Office 365 for most people. I'm not pushing to get this fixed at the moment, but the issued permit numbers will be sent to groups if needed. The International Telecommunications Union recommendation for the amateur service in emergency communications mentioned last week was formally published on the 2nd of March. For those who want to see the full detail, then search M.1042, that's Mike.1042 on Google, and that should get you through to the ITU's download page. It's not really new, but there's a little more emphasis in the document on us being able to operate when, quote, public grid power, close quote, is not available. Normally it just said operate an emergency power. We have gone through the route to season on this net without mentioning gas storage stocks and potential risk of trip events on the electricity grid, but there are many possible causes for the grid to go down, so is this risk still on your radar? Finally, following last week's discussion about training triggered by M.1042, a reminder from Colin, Mike 0, November Lima Papa, that groups should take advantage of the free JESIP training available online. We may not be the people who actually raise things like methane messages, but understanding the concepts of interoperability used by our user services will help in working together with them efficiently. So that should trigger some comments for what we have on the net today. So first is Mike, Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EY. Good afternoon, all. Well, the weather's gone through a warm patch here, but it's now back down to 10 centigrade, 1023 millibars, 92% relative humidity, 91% cloud cover, although I haven't actually found the 9% that actually is supposed to be sunshine, and 5.8 miles per hour from 96 degrees. Yes, resilience from power. Well, yeah, there's all sorts of things. We've had power blackout. Actually, the problem we get in Norfolk is brownouts rather than blackouts. They seem to be the most damaging. But so long as you keep decent batteries charged, and preferably have solar panel charging, it's the only way to go. Business radio here. Well, I must admit, I've got a business light license, which I took out in my name for the business radio we use here. which keeps me going for, I believe, 3 years before I have to panic about it. Yeah, I'm spending quite a bit of time playing in the nice little rabbit hole commonly known as 4-pole 3.5mm audio jacks, and how many different varieties of wiring that go with them, and so many pieces of equipment you can't get details on how they've wired the jack sockets on those. Oh well, that's life. Yeah, our first LRF meeting, probably for about 12 months, is theoretically tomorrow afternoon, so we'll see, no, not tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, in my Alexa mode, don't forget there's a com meeting on Thursday evening this week from GADEY.
Echo Yankee G4 NRC returning. Okay, duly reminded. Good luck with the LRF meeting. I still need to go back through my emails just to make sure nothing's been missed, but we can't find anything, so we might have to get into nudgy mode with Cheshire LRF. I'm trying to think of the source of data for 4-pole 3.5mm audio jacks, presumably from an amateur radio-based purpose. I've got repeater-builder.com or something like that in my mind, but there is a site out there which has a lot of audio information. And finally, double check your business license online, because I also thought that in another cost-cutting measure Ofcom would switch those to 5 years rather than 3 years, but I could easily be wrong on that. Okay, brownouts and blackouts, yes, it can be a bit of even more of a problem if you have not enough faults rather than too many or none. So, yeah, understand that problem. But those, by virtue of their very name, only last for a couple of seconds, we'd like to think. So, not quite as civilization threatening as the full blackouts I think the IT were looking at. Right, thanks for that, Mike. Let's go and see how the viewership's doing. Golf 7 November Echo Hotel G4 and RC over.
G4 NRC G798 returning yet, no problem. Last week's views we had 46 views and 6 likes, so that's one of the highest we've had, I think. And at the moment this week we've had 16 views and 5 concurrently viewing. So so there we go. Not a lot else to add, Greg, from this end. So if you leave me out the next round, and obviously I'll continue streaming till the end of the day. G4 NRC G798.
G798, G4 and RC returning. Okay, the enigma of what videos get views and what don't, when we change absolutely nothing about the thumbnail, etc. on the video, it continues. I do wonder if people are clicking it and then maybe hitting transcripts, and if they spot some keywords, maybe there's something in that, but that's just me wondering quite how we can go up and down in views as much as we do. Okay, thanks Graham, thanks for doing the streaming. We shall go, we've only got 1, 2, 3 to go. Trevor, G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G4KUJ. Yes, good afternoon, Greg and everybody else. What have I been up to this week? Mainly HS stuff, really, compared with the normal QO100 and VHF, UHF frequencies. Basically, I've sorted out my HF aerials to run with 2 radios. I've got 2 HF aerials. One is a trapped dipole in the loft, which covers 20, 40, 60 and 80, and an inverted L in the garden, which runs down the boundary, which is something like 25 metres long with a 9-to-1 choke at the bottom, or unun. the ATU that I had temporarily at that location when the other one failed, was quite happy matching on CW, but as soon as I hit it with any Pactor, it went back into a search mode. So I brought it indoors and put it all on a dummy load, and got the same effect. So obviously that SCS small remote or ATU doesn't like being hit with pulses like Pactor. So I changed the configuration and ran the output from the 9 to 1 through about 20 metres of coax to get it from one side of the house to the other, and then put an LDG IT100 ATU that I've got on the shack end, and that now tunes all bands from 160 to 6 metres, so quite pleased with that. And that was on the IC 7300. I've also got the Kenwood, the very old Kenwood device, which runs the Pactor, and at the moment is running the JS8 core, and that's got 2 aerial inputs, so it is currently running with either the long wire or the dipoles, and I've got a coax switch with over 60 dBs of attenuation between the isolation between the pots. And yesterday on the HF net, I was running 6 metres on the 7300 on the long wire, and 40 metres JS8 cool on the indoor aerial. Been talking to it for too long. 40 was in good shape yesterday on JS8 call, and I noticed that the last two-way ping that you and I had yesterday, Greg, was about 2000 in the evening, and that was reporting your signals at -5 dBs. So that's long over for me, sorry for that, but been quite busy this week. G4 NRC, G4 KUJ.
KUJ, G4 NRC returning. Okay, you said you're getting good isolation between the antennas to be able to operate them. That's good. I have got what I think is rig threatening issues here, but my separate antennas, which run in parallel for a lot of their length for VHF, UHF and HF, if I transmit on HF, I get a measurable amount of wattage coming back at me on the 2-metre antenna feeder, which I think has cooked a couple of radios. So not happy with that, and I was going to wonder how you were managing it. Must be separation and orientation, because this is the kind of thing that contesters will have to deal with, and use lots of coax filtering to separate out the HF bands you want to work on each antenna and minimise and short out the energy getting back into the other radio on the band it doesn't want to know about. So brilliant on that. Thanks for confirming for the last 40-metre ping. I left the station until about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock-ish, mostly because I wondered if any transatlantic contacts would come back. I got one JS8 call ping across to Nova Scotia. Actually, well, maybe 2 or 3, and then it just faded out as a sweet spot, and then everything stops. I've probably got more on HF, but I'll try and remember it for the second round to drag it out a bit. G4KIL's next. Over to you, Philip. G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4KL. Yeah, thanks so much, Greg. Thanks for running the net. And, that's right to say. With JSIP, first of all, you mentioned JSIP. I think last few years we've had one of our monthly meetings, we have a monthly members meeting. We've done at least one meeting on JSIP, I think, a year on that. mainly because we've had new people coming in and we thought it was a good idea if they were aware of it. And it's always good revision for the rest of us, as it were. And it is one you can do with an online meeting. That's worked well for us. Didn't make the HFNet. I didn't expect to make the HFNet last night. I knew I was going to be tied up with something else. Hopefully to make it next week. I saw from the reports there, KJ, that you were there, and I thought, well, that's interesting, because I think perhaps you and I don't usually come up on HF together, but there we go. Maybe next week.
JSA, that's interesting. I was going to say that I've got this sort of remote,
I've got JSA monitoring in theory in one location about a mile away, and I've got a remote access to it. It didn't seem to pick anything up in the last day. I think it looks like it is a software. It's just come up with something now, 9A3 SWO. It's just picked that up. I just rebooted the software when doing that last over. It obviously is working at least to some extent. But the other thing I think to mention was the interesting discussion about trap dipoles and so on. I'm tempted by a commercially made trap dipole that's supposed to go down to 160 metres and is 100 feet long. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they could get it into 100 feet. I mean, presumably that's because of the traps and so on. I think it's trapped all the way up to about 10 metres or something. So it must have quite a lot in it. It may use just harmonic resonance, I suppose, on some of the higher bands. I don't know. But because a straightforward dipole on 160 metres would be somewhat more than that. And theoretically, I might be able to arrange to get that in the where I've got my 20-metre antenna at the moment. The garden should theoretically be long enough. I might need to arrange to get the antenna over the top of the house, possibly to get the length that I really need. Well, particularly to get the feed point near where I want to bring it in. I don't really want the feed point halfway down the garden. Right, I think that's probably it. Or something else. Oh, there you are, KUJ. I've just picked up you responding to 9A3 SWO, so there we are. So it is obviously working there. I've got you as plus 3 dB on the screen here. You won't get anything back from me because it's receive only, this setup at the moment. But there we go. Okay, I'll leave it at that for the moment. Back to you, Greg, for an RCG.
G4NRC returning to G4KIL. Okay, yes, I've heard of 100-foot long dipoles. You're right, it's the traps and the inductive loading of the traps which will shorten things down reasonably. I just wish I said 100-foot long, but anything, the total length here falls far short of that. And my cunning plan of hoping that fibre to the premises would mean a telegraph pole would have to be put outside my house that could be, as we say, useful, has been thwarted because BT have decided that the ducting in this area is still good. So my FTTP was presented underground. So I can't create a suitable stick in the front garden, which is annoyingly long, to support an antenna, which is a shame. Right, okay, I'll pick up on some of the other stuff, but we'll finish this round with Ian, Golf 360 Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC.
From G3ZHX, I've been relegated to Tail and Charlie again, I see. Good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else. Don't have a lot to say, except that yesterday was my annual deployment, where we supervised a series of scout walks up to 80 kilometres in length. And for some reason I got away early, which is no bad thing. And I think I'll leave it with that for the moment, and back to you, G3ZHX.
ZHX, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I know you needed them zero JSA just to answer the Tail and Charlie. It's usually him that gets caught, but not to be today. Well, scout walks, yes, it is the first day of spring last week, depending on whether you're meteorological or astronomical or whichever. But acknowledge the event season is starting to pick up today, and the reason I stayed in the house was Chester 10K, which we're not required for. the same routes as our half marathon, but because it turns around that considerable bit earlier, it doesn't get out to the section of the countryside where the mobile phone coverage is, as we say, less than optimal. So we don't have a need in the 10K, so I wanted to avoid the city disruption instead. Okay, thanks Ian. We shall go back to the top of the list for finals or otherwise then. Golf Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC.
G4 NRC from GAEEY. Yeah, everything copied this end. Oh, I'm glad you reminded me about Jessup. Quite a few years ago now, I went on a number of actual in-person, this is before lockdown, training sessions on Jessup and other things in the wonderful empire of the LRF. Then it sort of went to online, so I'd done those, and then of course we went to RD Lite, which sort of put the mockers on it. But yeah, it's all very useful stuff. The face-to-face meetings were very good because we tend to get representatives from all the user services. This is quite nice because you can discuss aspects of all this stuff from their point of view as well as mine. Thanks for running the net, Greg. See you Thursday night, all being well, from GAEEY.
EYG for NRC returning. Okay, I've never attended a Jessup in-person course. I have done the online ones, but I don't remember that being anything to do with Resilience Direct in its light or full-fat versions. I just logged in, created an account and went for it, and they were just happy to get people doing the courses. So I don't think it's linked to that unless your LRF was using RD as a means of gathering interest in people for sort of shared sessions. Okay, yes, hopefully see you Thursday. Can't think of anything getting in the way at the moment. But as we go through the rest of the net, you are the reminder that next Sunday is Mother's Day. Which usually seems to be the focus for lots of events, getting people out to the frustration of the mothers, or us having other things to do. So we'll see what the attendance is like next week for the net, how it works. Okay, thanks Mike, talk to you soon. Trevor G4KUJ, I got bored, so while you said mostly HF this week, I realised that with my IEEE membership I'd got Google Gemini I could use without it poisoning my normal Android account. So I took some of the queries that had run through ChatGPT and ran that through Google Gemini to see what consistency there was in its forecasting of ground wave ranges and stuff like that. It was there or thereabouts, looked at things in a slightly different way. But then I went down the rabbit hole of how far should I be able to get on top band using my very non-optimised W3 EDP given for a 16-kilometre away contact with an equivalent poor antenna. We were making good contacts on CW in beta modes, but sideband wasn't having it, so just set around that and I might share you the link again. G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
Excuse me, G4 NRC, G4KUJ. Yeah, okay, it's interesting the comparison there with the two systems, or two AI systems. That's very interesting, and okay about not getting much range on top band. I've never really had any success on top band with the aerials I've had at this location, but everything else seems to work possibly, it has some capability, obviously not optimum, but at least it works. Noted about Thursday night, so I'll make a point of being around to check with Peter on the NTSD Pactor link. But so far this week, the improvements in 40 metre propagation look encouraging. I think we both had some good contacts with Peter over near Frankfurt. The two areas I've got are basically at 90 degrees to each other. One is southeast northwest, that's the long wire, and the other one is southwest northeast. That's the sort of flat bit of the dipole, but it is wound into the roof space of the bungalow, which is quite wide. So if you look down on the top of it, it's like a deformed Z would be the plan view of it. But it seems to work. The HF rig's quite happy transmitting on one band and not blowing up the other one. To the point where I can monitor the signals on the other radio. And the 60 dB isolation on the, or more than on the coax switch seems more than adequate. Feedback problem. Which is probably surprising, but I'm thankful for that. Okay, nothing else at the moment, I don't think. And as far as I know, I should be around for the Pactor net or Pactor connections during the week, except probably Friday. G4 NRC, G4 KUK.
KUJ, G4 NRC returning. Okay, Trevor, I had two dropouts from you with the words after 60 dB isolation of the coax switch. There were a couple of glitches around them, so definitely trying to say this is a duration thing, that the longer the net goes on, the more we seem to get these issues, is the way it's feeling at the moment, but we'll see. Thanks for updating the information on when you're available for Pactor. I think Friday's okay. But yes, we just need to pick the traffic levels up. There is some chatter on another one of the mailing lists where people are finding it hard to deliver National Traffic System messages in America because you can't find anybody's phone number anymore. Not without selling your firstborn child or paying something 30 cents a lookup, which isn't going down with them. So the more connected we are, the harder it is to actually get messages through to people. I'm sure there's an irony in that somewhere. Top band, yeah, we'll take that one offline and I'll drop you the links to some of the things we've been playing around with. Just because I always have a recollection of learning a long time ago that top band was the precursor of 2 meters as a local chat channel. And the way I could hear something on sideband in midday did make me think we have a bit of an underused local band rather than 10 meters where you know you're going to have shortened ground wave ranges. Okay, thanks Trevor, 7-3 to you, and Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, over to you, G4 and RC.
G4 RC, G4 KL. Not a great deal to add, I don't think, except for talking about antennas, HF antennas. Interesting, you may remember I did occasionally join the HF net using remote control to one of the local amateur radio club radios. They changed the radio, that's not a problem. They changed the antenna, that is more of a problem. Apparently, the one they've got at the moment is really too short to work effectively on 80 metres, which surprised me a bit since I seem to have managed to get my 6 metre one tune with a manual tuner anyway. Maybe I just, it's not so obvious when the SWR slipping, because it will tune, my impression was it will tune, when you do the tuning, you can get it to tune quite nicely. But the minute you start actually transmitting on it as you're talking, you high SWRs flipping up as you're talking. Scouting one of the people there, they reckoned it's because the tuning is so bad using the ATU.
G4 KIL, G4 NRC, have an audio drop after 60 seconds. G4 KIL, G4 KIL, G4 NRC, over. For an RC, I'm going to work with a flat battery for the moment, and given his normal timeout, he might not notice for a while. Ian, we'll come to you next, and then I'll go back to Philip, by which point hopefully he'll recognise that the net has moved on. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC on the net, G3 ZHX. Yes, whilst talking about our deployment yesterday, I should have put in a good word for Jim, G1HUL, who once again has done a lot of work in improving our connectivity. Last year we were totally saturated for quite a while, and it was very difficult to get in edgewise. The year before, when I was running a talk-through, I couldn't find a gap to test my talk-through in. So yesterday, the comms net was largely quiet because we found other means. I won't say any more than that. And with that, thank you for running the net, Greg, and hope to hear you all next week. 73G3 ZHX.
3 Zulu Hotel X-ray, G4 and RC returning. Yeah, finding bandwidth remains the problem, so I have a usual fun time when we say, can we work in emergencies? And it's, yes, of course we can. When you look at your normal nets or normal events, you've only got 4 or 5 stations on the frequency. You don't need to do anything any different. Here, if you're passing lots and lots of traffic, if everybody was called out across multiple groups, 2 meters would fill up very quickly and there's nowhere to go. And possibly ditto 77s. So it's good to bring the other amateur bands into play, but I think I'll look at the way I phrased that one. Okay, thanks Ian. Let's see if if Philip has changed the battery or not. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
No, G4 RC, equal KL. I think the battery's gone flat. I think the other one on DT that you'd lost me. I don't think there's too much to add. I think I just was talking about the club radio. But I'll leave it at that, say 73s, and speak to you next week. G4 RC, G4 KL.
G4 KAL, G4 and RC, yeah, we lost a lot after how the antenna change had spoiled the 80-meter coverage, and a club member is reckoning it was just because the tuning was so sharp on that particular band. But then you sort of kind of faded away gracefully. There was no handback at 64 seconds, and the audio just stopped. So, okay, sorry, not a problem. So that's our list complete. At least I've spoken to everybody again, and the cutting is about to restart. So let's draw it to a close. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your schedule to participate in this afternoon's net. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity period and talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister and 502351 on the RAYNET-UK server, and return those talk groups to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie now closing, reverting to my normal call sign of 0, Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.